Welcome to Spirituelle Sunday, where women of the world meet. Every Sunday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, women from around the world unite for communion with true wisdom, soul purpose, and deep destiny. Watch us on most channels at Spirituelle Society or on our website at spirituellesociety.com. Each week, through inspired teachings, soulful reflections, and SuperMind secrets, we explore the deeper dimensions of spiritual leadership for women and what it takes to live a powerful, purposeful, pure, and prosperous life on this planet today. Hello, everyone. Hello, women from around the world listening. Welcome to Spirituelle Sunday. For those of you that I don't know personally, my name is Lee Jacobs, and I am joined every Sunday at 7 Eastern Time by Kathy Roseborough, who's here with me tonight. And we come online live every Sunday to not only connect women from around the world, but to speak on and share on topics that we have found to be really important right now in the world. We hear from women on a daily basis who are noticing that things feel different. Life is moving very fast. There's so much going on energetically in the world. How do we thrive and keep moving our own life forward? And how do we handle the unique situations that are coming up that can be overwhelming? So most women that we've been hearing from are facing sort of forks in the road for their life, pivotal spiritual points right now. And so we want to come on every Sunday night and share with you that you are not alone. If you are finding that these times and this year and last year and right now in the world, there's some major spiritual shifting going on for you. And you are really, I kind of talk about this, it's like you're like a genie cracking out of the bottle. And there are stepping stones. There are steps to how to thrive through this transition. And this is what we want to support you with tonight, every Sunday, throughout the week, on an ongoing basis, because it's something that we need a circle. We need a support system. We need mentorship because these times are a lot. And so tonight, we decided that one of the topics that comes up regularly is how to up-level, and we'll explain what this means, from living from a place of traditionally called sort of the lower mind or just the intellect alone, to a much higher place, a much more powerful place of living from a place of SuperMind. So we're going to talk tonight about what is the difference between a woman who leads from intellect alone, lower mind, and a woman who leads their life from their higher faculties, leading with SuperMind, because there is a completely different way to live your life. And it's transformational. And the way I explain it really simply, because from my own experience, when I used to live from my intellect alone, I call it a transactional life. Like you get a lot done. You might be really productive. People count on you because you can multitask like a machine. You get a lot done. You're really productive. But the challenge with it is you feel somewhat robotic. You know, every day sort of looks the same. You feel sort of depleted of life force. You're not living from life force. You're living from just like the physical world alone. And women who have been living this way are getting tired. They're getting energetically tired, spiritually tired, and they're starting to open up to bigger questions like, is this just it? Is every day just going to look the same? I do my to-do list. I get everything done at work. I burn myself out. But there's got to be more to this life than just being a transactional bot. And so a lot of women are now interested in what's next, what's more. And this is where you move from transactional to transformational. And in order to do that, we must be trained and taught how to activate the higher faculties, the higher mind, the supermind. So tonight we're teaching the beginning stages and the initial steps to support you to start switching on your life so you're living from supermind. Now, what's very briefly, when you start switching on supermind, you start not needing as much external world stimulation. You don't need all the parties. You don't need to be chasing things. You don't care about fitting in. You are so complete and healthy and in peace and joy without all of that. It's still nice, to get the frills and to go shopping, but you have this internal fulfillment that the intellect can't really deliver you alone.
Yeah.
So we are in a stage now where we're really inspiring and supporting women there's a better way to live, and there's a much more fulfilling, deeper way to enjoy. You have this one lifetime to live out your purpose, to live out your greatness. And you kind of get bored of the old transactional way of intellectual living. And this is happening for women right now. So they're cracking open and being like, but now what? So
yes.
to talk a little bit more about like clearing that old life and that lower mind on how to start rising.
Well, I think there's a few things you hit right there that I really like. Is first of all that there are steps and stages to moving from one way of thinking to another. And the other word that I really like, which you mentioned, is joy, because the happiness is found in the way you're thinking totally differently each day than that repetitious, as you said, transactional and robotic, and it's the same old, and you're just shuffling things around, and it's monotonous. Very little is added to it when you're in the lower mind. And let's even qualify what that lower mind is. When we look at it as the intellectual body of consciousness, there's certainly different variations or strata or different stages of development in an intellect, but we could be running it from just having a constant swirling of TV and social media and same conversation with the neighbors and same old conversation at work and so on, which gets boring. There's no joy in it. Then that's what people are feeling, the eagerness to not only move away from, but to also, they stop and say, I don't want this anymore because it's so frustrating. And so the women are now asking you, they've been asking me, they've been reflecting, they want more. And the more is found, as we said earlier, when you mentioned right off the get-go, in the SuperMind. Now, the SuperMind is at a much higher state of your existence. Let's call it the mind that's in sympathetic or magnetic resonance with your soul, with the big creative mind of the all. Can you imagine just that thought of how exciting that is, to be able to know that day after? You never know how and when and how, the advancements that are going to take place when you're accessing the SuperMind.
And I think
it's extraordinary.
It's also, I think for me too, you figure it out as you age and as you mature, but sometimes you realize, wow, like it would have been so great if I understood that there's sort of two stages or two phases, and you do kind of outgrow the intellectual life alone. And then it becomes a little bit of a trap because it tries to keep you in that boring circle of job and keeping up with everyone and fitting in all the time. And then it becomes a bit of a trap. But I know women recognize this, but no one gets trained on how to get out of that hamster wheel.
Right. Well, the first thing you have to do is clean up the lower one, because it's the container. So when we talk about making sure that our intellect is well fed, like we have to feed our intellect, make sure that there's enough data and study and interest in what the concepts of your higher mind can bring you. So let's say whatever subject matter you're interested in, You don't suddenly say, okay, I'm not gonna bother pursuing any more research or development in that. It's the opposite is true. You're going to put all your efforts into developing the subject or the industry or what it is that you are, you're so keen on, but you want to push past that ceiling. And that ceiling is where the intellect stops and the supermind in gradations begins. And so as you cleaning up the lower mind, what do I mean by that is, first of all, you got to get rid of the noise. You've got to get rid of the noise, the chatter, the repetition, the gossip, the looking at the same old places you go for information where it's just people's opinions. There's nothing. That's why we say it's gossip, or it's just hearsay, or whatever's flashing at you on the scrolling of your social media or wherever you gain your delight of conversation, wherever you get conversation. And that can be in so many areas, but it's almost like that, when people say, well, I'm going to meet this group again at this time or this time, but there's no growth in the group. That is disappointing when there's no growth in the group. And so the supermind consciousness, it's like a faucet turning on, and it's the water, it's like the energy is flowing then into your intellect. But to prepare it, that's the key, isn't it, Lee? We always have to clear that up, because it gets to be like a monkey chatter and noise, and you just can't fill that. The two worlds will not meet. They have to be in sympathetic resonance.
No, and this, I know for me, like, it's not an overnight, it's a process.
It's a process.
But it also takes daily clearing and daily work. One of the questions I get a lot, and I'd love to hear your perspective on this, is I have a lot of women who now are ready. Before they weren't quite ready, but now they're like, I'm so ready to elevate. Like, I love my intellect, and I know it's a beautiful tool, but just living at an intellectual level doesn't fulfill my soul at all. It makes me good at my career, and good at taking care of people. But I am now ready. But what do I do if I am in a certain town and like my circle has been the same for 20 years. And that is a question that comes up a lot. Like, how do I navigate this evolution while staying in the same social circle and with the same people?
You can't. The answer is no, you can't. Two things you have to do. One has to be your private or personal time of study and development. And the second is being in an environment, whether a mentoring group or obviously with Spiritual Society, this is what we do. You're amongst people that have a similar quest or thirst for access to the higher mind. You have to be in the right environment. Garbage in, garbage out, positive in, positive out. So where you decide you want to be, like what you want to get to in terms of access to the higher mind, if you're deciding you want that, you will get there. But your best tools start with you on your own. They start with you in reflection. Now, what a teacher does, of course, is gives you the guidance on what type of things you reflect on, or to prompt you, or to help you to spark questions. Questions are the key. Questions, like you have to have a mind that questions things instead of just being spoon-fed and like, here, this is the way it works. Why? How? All the who, what, when, where, why, and how. That's a student. That is a student of the greater mysteries of life. That is a woman in pursuit of expanding her not only her database, her knowledge base, but to reach into and to access the way her soul thinks. Oh my goodness. Just, you pause and think about that, ladies. You are going to be accessing the true mind of who you are. It's an enlightened mind. And so it's the riches in there, the treasures and the riches in there are, without end. It's your greatest potential.
And one of from my own journey, also one of the little, obviously I'm honoring the intellect always. But one of
Yeah,
the little traps of just feeding the intellect is you'll find when you're speaking to somebody who's been overly focusing on just intellectual development, oftentimes there's no connection with the soul and the soul purpose.
that's right.
Or even asking, is this my soul purpose? Is this what I'm here for? It's more my intellect is leading my little kind of rat race where I'm just,
Right.
I don't know if there should be another way, but I'm not even going to access the soul to ask those questions.
And the soul has the answers for you, and there's like three major, I'll break it to the three. There's three major expressions of the divine that flow through your soul relative to our conversation tonight, that is best that we all understand as three major principles. And that is your soul's love is one of them. Certainly the soul's mind, which is the super mind, and the soul's will, or should we say that is the directive, the actual purpose of your reason for being, which originates back from the divine architect itself as the creator. So you have these three major flow or streams of divine principles that when you ask within, when you are searching for those in the stream of the divine within you, when you're searching for that, it's between you and your soul, which is why you don't need a social circle for that. Meaning you don't need to be out at a party or a lecture. What you need is that first and foremost. Then from that desire of yours to search out your soul comes the supporting tools, which is your mentors and your teachers and the tools and the guidance and the helping you to, what button do I push and what kind of lever do I bend
Right.
to make this happen? Because you still have to ultimately do the work yourself, but this is where the teachers come in to give you the support. But it's all, notice what you said there. You said there's a lot of women that are so intellectually strong, but they don't feel, they're lost because they don't feel that soul connection. That soul connection is a stream that comes from raising your own vibration, your own electromagnetic field in your heart, your magnetism in your heart, and your magnetism in your own mind. And those two areas, those two powerful sections of your existence have to be raised up. And as long as you stay on low level vibes around you, and you're going to be around a lot of, I just call it low vibes of conversation and influences, whether that's through your food or addictions or what have you, anything that pulls that vibe down knocks you out of alignment with the access to your super mind. Your super mind cannot be accessed if your vibration is low. It just cannot.
I know that this is so what women are wanting right now. And a lot of women are like, yes, it's like you said this to me many years ago. You've kind of reached the top of an old mountain. And now women are at the bottom of a new, beautiful mountain.
That's correct. Yeah.
That we're climbing, but we do need a new set of tools. And we also need to take some time to reflect on the direction we want to go. And making sure, like for me, I believe that integrity and the moral compass we need to hold so sacred so that those lower vibrational things around us don't pull us off course. But if we don't know where we're going or what our soul path is, it's very easy to get thrown off of what's most important to you because you don't have that direction really solid.
You don't have to know the answer to the question, but you must have the willpower to go and look. That's 95% of your success right there. You have to make the decision that you want to look for that soul connection. If you make that decision, help is on the way. Help is
Mhm.
surrounding you. Help is within you. But until you make that, nobody can force anyone to make that decision. That's a matter of the women saying for themselves, I'm tired of the old. I've reached the end of the top of that old mountain. I'm ready for the new mountain. I'm standing here at the bottom. I've got my goggles on and my ski poles, and I've got, I'm all ready to go up. And that's when right there, people show up. People show
Mhm.
up. Books show up. Study shows up. Everything shows up for you when you make that decision. But if you start to make excuses and you start to say, oh, but I got to do this and I got to do that, and oh, I didn't have time today, and oh, maybe I'll do it next week, you're on your own then,
Mhm.
because nothing's going to happen. It won't magically just drop into your lap. You have to put the effort.
The other thing that I notice, once we start accessing the supermind and switching it on, I have found that women's or their fields, if you're listening and you're familiar with the aura or just it's like the women start to get a sparkle around
Yeah.
them. There is a magnetic beauty
Yes.
around them because it's like they've accessed a secret.
Yes. They turn on a switch.
Yes, it
Yes.
turns on this
That's right.
glow that it's like that person in the room that you're like, there's something about that person. You
Yes.
can't put it
Correct.
into words, but I find one of the starting points to activating that beautiful field is starting to access and communicate with Supermind. When you're living from intellect alone, this is just, I have found it's difficult to really activate that beautiful magnetic aura.
The electromagnetic field is the vibratory system and dialing up its frequency to engage in that super mind. And that's why the radiance takes place, because your energy field is robust. You
Mhm.
are excited about learning. You're excited about knowing. You love the click, those aha moments. You find yourself enthusiastic about a new concept or idea or creative spark that happens inside of you. You get an idea, whether it's for yourself, your family, your friends, your business, or all of the above. You get so excited about it because you're like, that's what the creator wants me to do to uplift mankind. That's what the creator would like me to do to bring about a positive change for the greater good. And you will lock onto that like a pit bull, because
Mhm.
like a jaw on it, because you're like, I got it. And then here's the beauty, Lee, and you know this as well as I do. Once you have a taste of that, there's no stopping you. You're like, oh, I love this. I love this.
Yes.
I love this. And you keep going. You keep
Yeah,
going.
and for all of you watching tonight, this is possible for every woman watching
Absolutely.
and listening. And what you'll find is once it doesn't take a lot of work to start feeling and activating this new energy, and then you can't really go back to the old.
No.
It's almost like you're like, I've so graduated from that way of life. It just takes a commitment to I want to see what's more for me. I want to go a little deeper. I know I'm here for bigger purpose.
Yeah.
And I've done all I can, I've done great. I'm so grateful for all of my lessons and all
Yeah.
the things. It's time for a new chapter.
Well, it's essential at this point in 2025, beyond 2060 years going ahead. This is now an essential skill. This is not about, oh, maybe one day, or gee, I hope sometime I get to do that. No, you want this to be activated now in your life, because the way the world is heading and what you're going to need, this is an essential skill
Mm.
that every woman must have access to her super mind and know who she is and why she's born, and be able to ask those questions of life that have just been buried under the daily, week to week, mundane existence of repetition. It's been buried, and though that veil cannot continue, it'll just it's so suppressive that it's like being a big wet blanket being on
Mhm.
you. And this veil is off. When the woman says, I would like this now to get going, that's when everything gets underway.
It's pretty
That's the
amazing. And one of the common things that I've heard from friends and women who are on this path is I can't even be in a room for too long where it's very superficial or
yeah.
gossipy. Or it's like before I could still be in the room and maybe not participate, but now I can't
Mhm.
even be there. And
No.
I think that is the uh, confirmation that this is a very powerful time in the world right now. Like you're picking your path.
Yes, you're picking you're valuing your time. You're
Mhm.
valuing your engagements with other members of our society. You're valuing the fact that you don't want your brain to be dumbed down. You don't
Yes.
want your mind to be coerced or twisted or somehow taken into some distraction down a road of misery or into ugly language and unhappiness. Like you don't
Mhm.
want that. And as soon as you realize the vibe is not right in the room or not right coming from the person speaking or the teachings that are you have you might be listening to, and as soon as you get that vibe of this is no way, there's a repulsion going on, you're in the wrong vibe and you have to move on. And don't even try to tolerate it. Don't try, because you're just going against the grain. And the more time you spend developing the higher, finer, more refined vibrations and the higher frequencies, the more you spend time with that, the greater your life will be. And that's what SuperMind is all about.
Yeah, love it. And for me, this is one of the reasons why we created these beautiful Sunday gatherings that are short and sweet,
Yeah.
very, very sacred to us. And we also wanted to create community so that those of you on this beautiful path don't feel alone. That
Mhm.
a lot of women are like, but I would love to have a circle. I would love to have a family that is on this path so I can be
Yeah.
authentic and I can speak openly and
Yes.
I
Yeah.
don't have to filter my language or people, I can just be myself. And
Yes.
that is the whole reason we created Spiritual Society, is to create this global family of women who are all on the same page, speaking the
Yeah.
same language, and are held so sacred, are guided, are trained, are mentored. And so if you're interested in learning more and joining our family, we have our website up above, spiritualsociety.com. And for those of you who may be a coach or a therapist or a healer, and you work with clients and you're finding, yes, like I have all the tools, but there's something missing now to be able to support my clients effectively. It's the spiritual sciences, the spiritual skills that are now needed to really support clients
Yeah.
in a correct way for these times. And so we also decided we need to support these beautiful healers and coaches and therapists and yoga and Pilates teachers who are
Yeah.
working with clients. So if you work with clients and you're like, oh, there's some skills now I don't have, and I can help clients, but now I have to learn to help them deeper and get those spiritual science skills. We've put together a spiritual life coaching certification
Yes.
where we're going to help you to support clients. And this is a training we're starting in September. It's all online, so you can do it from the comfort of your home. And this is one of the only trainings that I've seen of this kind that offers this type of toolbox to be able to
Yeah.
help you guide your clients in these very unique, special times.
That's right. That's right. Actually, I find that with this kind of course that we're teaching, the therapists and the healers and all that are in the position of coaching others are delighted to add this type of training to their own toolbox, because they're already very well trained in their career, in their own skills, and this is an addition that they wonder, how did I ever get by without it?
Mhm.
I've my years of experience. We're talking teaching this type of course for 30 years, And every single coach and therapist and healer and leader is always walks away and says, that's what I needed. I needed that. And now it just gives me that much more ability to help my
Mhm.
clients and my students. So I look forward to having you at the course. So, and Lee and I would be delighted to teach you.
So, if you're interested in joining our family, or if the certification is something that you'd like to read more about or register for, we have our website up above, spiritualsociety.com, and we will also add it to the comment boxes below. If you have any questions or you want to reach out and share anything or ask anything, please don't hesitate. And we will look forward to seeing you next Sunday at
Yes.
our Spiritual Sunday gathering. Have a great week, everyone.
Thank you. Have a great week. Bye for now.